I'm back home in my home country of Scotland this week, and this video is about my favourite city in the whole world. This is Edinburgh. If you arrive in Edinburgh at either Waverley railway station or on the airport bus, you will arrive right next to the Scott Monument. This is situated between Waverley railway station and Princes Street Gardens. It was built in 1844 to honour the writer Sir Walter Scott, who was well known for the books such as Ivanhoe and Waverley. It is one of the largest monuments in the world dedicated to a writer. You can climb the 287 steps to the top for views over to Princes Street, the gardens and the castle. The Royal Mile is officially known as High Street and is Edinburgh's most famous street along with Princes Street. The Royal Mile is packed with medieval buildings, shops, restaurants and attractions. It was once the main street of medieval Edinburgh, where the city's residents lived, worked and traded, and over the centuries it has witnessed royal processions, public executions and historic events, making it one of Scotland's most important streets. I've now stood just in front of the Palace of Holyrood House. This is at one end of the Royal Mile. At the other end of the Royal Mile is Edinburgh Castle, and I'm just about to start my walk there. There's a lot of things to see along the Royal Mile. Some of you may remember from the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II in 2022. Because she died in Scotland, she was brought here first to Holyrood House, and then a procession along the Royal Mile up to St Giles Cathedral, which is just before Edinburgh Castle. So unfortunately I can't show you inside the Palace of Holyrood House because you can't film or take photos inside. The Palace of Holyrood House, commonly known as Holyrood Palace, is the official residence of the British monarch in Scotland. It has been the official home of Scottish kings and queens since the 16th century, and Mary Queen of Scots lived here between 1561 and 1567. On the site you can also see this small building, believed to have been built during the reign of Queen Mary. Although the sign says it was a bathhouse, its true purpose remains unknown. Opposite the palace you can see the Scottish Parliament building, and to the side of that is Arthur's Seat, a popular hill walk just outside Edinburgh city centre. Greyfriars Bobby is one of Edinburgh's legends. Bobby was a dog who became famous for guarding his owner's grave in Greyfriars Kirkyard for 14 years until his own death in 1872. Bobby's owner was called John Gray, and he was a night watchman for the local police. After his death in 1858, Bobby remained at his graveside and left briefly only to get food. He was cared for by local people, and the Lord Provost even paid for his dog licence. After Bobby died in 1872, he was also buried here, and you can visit his gravestone today, as well as his statue nearby, which is one of the most photographed landmarks in Edinburgh. Greyfriars Church was founded in 1620 and is still an active place of worship today. As well as Greyfriars Bobby, many notable figures are buried here, including poets, scholars and historical figures. The Museum of Edinburgh was free entry when I visited, and it showcases the history of Edinburgh from the earliest days to modern times. Here you can see the National Covenant, a document signed in 1638 by many Scots to protest King Charles I's attempts to change the Scottish Church. The covenant was a declaration of rights and a contract with God. It was signed in Greyfriars Kirkyard. You can also see decorative arts, historic maps and models here. The main exhibit I came to see was the collar and bowl that belonged to Greyfriars Bobby. Edinburgh is well known for its many closes. In Scotland, a close means a narrow passageway between houses. You can see them throughout the old town and especially along the Royal Mile. The closes were originally densely packed with tenement buildings housing both the rich and the poor in the medieval and early modern periods. Many closes are associated with ghost stories due to Edinburgh's dark past with plague outbreaks, crime and executions, and you will be able to visit some of them during evening ghost tours. I'm now on my way to see some of the underground city of Edinburgh. There are several types of underground tours and they usually cost between £20 and £25 per person. I'll put some links to some of these companies in the video description. As you can see behind me, there's a sign for Mary King's Close. This is one of the areas I mentioned about earlier, part of the underground city of Edinburgh that I'm going to have a look at this morning. It goes back centuries to about the 17th century. And it was closed up, or partially closed up for a long time, and only reopened to the public fairly recently. So let's go and have a look. In this tour you'll visit a cluster of closes around Mary King's Close. Mary King's Close gets its name after one of its 17th century merchants who lived here. In 1645 Edinburgh was hit by a plague and this area was heavily affected. There are myths that the plague victims were sealed inside their houses, but historians dispute this. I've just come out the tour of Mary King's Close. It was really good. It's a historical tour. The building across the road with the flags is the City Chambers building built in the mid-18th century on top of Mary King's Close and the surrounding closes. So some of those people were moved and it was partially closed over for a long time. There are some underground vault tours in other parts of underground Edinburgh that are more spooky ghost tours. This one wasn't a spooky ghost tour, this was more of a historical tour. Unfortunately I couldn't film inside, but I have a photograph that I'll put on the video. It was the second widest street at the time in Edinburgh. This is in the mid-17th century and the widest street was the Royal Mile, as you can see out here at the time. This was before the new town, the Georgian side of Edinburgh, was built. The monument behind me is Mercat Cross and this is where they used to have outdoor markets. And I'm sure this is the place where they had public executions too. Traditionally, Mercat crosses were central meeting points in Scottish towns where markets were held, and it's where royal and public announcements were made. It's also where punishments were carried out. Between 1594 and 1710, there were over 150 public executions here for crimes such as treason and witchcraft. I just stopped for a break here in the middle of the Royal Mile, so I just ordered some soup for lunch. You can probably hear behind me the bagpipe music, that's our traditional music. We usually have a bagpiper playing here on Royal Mile. Royal Mile is also where you'll find the majority of the tourist shops selling souvenirs. I'll go and have a look at some of them later on. And after lunch I'm going to head up just to the top end of Royal Mile where it ends, and that's where you find Edinburgh Castle. This is the Witchery restaurant. It's about 100 yards or something like that from the castle. I've been in here before. It is very nice. It's one of the best restaurants in the area actually. So I recommend coming here. And at night you have the Witchery tour starter from here, which is like a walk through the old town of Edinburgh in the dark with some spooky stories. I recommend that too. That's a lot of fun.
St Giles Cathedral was founded in the year 1124. It played an important role in Scotland's Reformation of the 16th century, and John Knox, a leading figure in the Reformation, was the minister here. In 2022, the coffin of Queen Elizabeth was placed here for 24 hours before her funeral took place in London. In Edinburgh, you will find many whisky shops and whisky centres offering tasting experiences. You will also be able to buy our typical sweet snacks in many local shops such as Shortbread, Edinburgh Rock, Tablet and Macaroon bars, as well as our most popular soft drink, Iron Brew. Other typical products on offer include kilts in various types of tartan, cashmere and gin.
So I finally found what I was looking for, but I had to go and ask a member of staff because in the other part of the museum I can't see any signs about Scotland's history at all. It has changed because in there it's you've still got natural history and you've got other areas that are like world exhibitions and a lot of interactive things for kids. But this was what I was looking for, where it's a different time periods for Scotland. So you have to come to this end of the building where these lifts are, and if you come here and you want to see the part of Scotland's history, just ask a member of staff because the signs aren't very good in the main museum, and they'll direct you to this. And then you've got a few floors and then a roof terrace on top with views of Edinburgh, so that should be good. Oh well, looks like I can't go to the roof terrace today. Behind me is the thing I came to see most today, the treasures from St Ninian's Isle, which is in Shetland, and I talk a bit more about this in my video, my top 5 Scottish islands, so I'll put a link to that in the description below. But these are ancient treasures that were hidden on a small island, one of the Shetland Islands, hundreds of years ago.
The St Ninian's collection dates back to the 8th century and consists of 20 silver items such as brooches, bowls and parts of weapons. The items were found during an archaeological excavation of a medieval church on St Ninian's Isle. They were inside a wooden box and hidden under the floor of an earlier church. At the time these items were made, gifts were exchanged between Pictish and Anglo-Saxon rulers, and one of these items has an inscription in Old English on it, and it was likely to have been made in Mercia. The owner of the items was not known, but one theory is that the items were owned by a Pictish lord who buried them to hide them from the Vikings.
The houses behind me here are some of the most expensive in Edinburgh, and it's because of the view, which I'll have to show you from the other side. This is a nice area to sit in summer. So last time I was here was during the festival in August a few years ago, and we had nice sunny weather, so I was able to sit in the grass with views of the castle. It's very nice for that, but it's not open in the evening. There's a sign on the gate saying it's closing at 5 o'clock today. I'm not sure if that's the same all year round, but certainly it's very nice to have a walk, and it is really quiet even though all the other streets are really busy. So these houses in front of the church here, the ones I showed you from the top, they're expensive because of the nice views. So they've got views all the way down Princes Street Gardens, and they're very close to the castle. I recommend coming here to Princes Street Gardens to get away from the hustle and bustle of the Royal Mile at the top where the castle is. And on the other side of the gardens you've got Princes Street, which is the new town area with all the shops, and this is a quiet space in the middle of the two.
My hotel was situated in Edinburgh's Georgian New Town, which is an area built in the 18th century and is known for its elegant architecture. This area remains one of the best preserved examples of Georgian architecture in the world and is part of Edinburgh's UNESCO World Heritage Site. Just off Princes Street, this is Register House, and it's the best place to come to trace your ancestors from Scotland. Grassmarket is a historic and vibrant area in Edinburgh's Old Town, nestled beneath Edinburgh Castle. It has a rich history dating back to medieval times when it served as a bustling marketplace for traders, farmers and merchants, and it was also a location for public executions. Today, Grassmarket is a lively area filled with independent shops, restaurants, traditional Scottish pubs and cultural venues. It's a popular destination for tourists and locals alike, with regular markets and live music.
So this is the Jewel in our crown. This is Edinburgh Castle behind me. It's almost 1,000 years old, built in the 12th century on top of a dead volcano. I'm just going to have a look around the top here and show you the views. I'm very lucky and proud to say my sister was married inside the castle, so if you have a wedding in the family, it is a venue that you can consider. I'll include some pictures on the video of that day. So on the day of my sister's wedding, after we had the ceremony inside the castle, we came out here through this gate where there's a bridge and there were a lot of foreign tourists excited to see a traditional wedding with the men in kilts, and they all stood at the bottom of the bridge and left all the space open for us, and there were hundreds of them taking our pictures, so that was quite funny.
Over the last 1,000 years, the castle has been a royal residence, a military stronghold, and a symbol of Scottish power. It is one of the most visited attractions in the UK. This is the location for the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo every August, and the famous 1 o'clock gun has been fired from here every day except Sunday since 1861. The castle offers panoramic views across Edinburgh and the Pentland Hills.
So this is the view of the other side up at the castle. This is of Princes Street, that's the main shopping street, and that's over to the new town of Edinburgh. Another tip is to buy your tickets in advance because it's very popular and today is already sold out. Another thing I wanted to mention is that if you're looking for something to do in the evening in Edinburgh, if you check out the website whatsonedinburgh.com and similar websites that list events, you should find that every weekend I would think there's a public ceilidh that you can attend. A ceilidh is an event where we have traditional Scottish dancing and music. We learn these dances at school and we have them at weddings and at New Year special occasions, that kind of thing. I checked for this weekend and there are 4 public ceilidhs on that you could buy tickets to. We had one at my sister's wedding, and I'll just put a clip on of one of those and a link to the short video I've got of some of the ceilidh dances at my sister's wedding. Last time I was here at a public event, I brought 10 of my foreign friends to a ceilidh and they had a really good time. They didn't know what to expect, I'd never seen it before. So that would be a really nice experience if you're new to Scotland and you want to experience some of our culture or traditions. That's all for me in Edinburgh this weekend. I hope you liked the video. It's been a difficult one to film. It's been so busy. I'm not used to busy places. I don't tend to go to big cities. But as I said at the start, I make an exception for this one because Edinburgh is my favourite city in the world. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please press like, subscribe, leave me a comment. It helps the algorithm. I'm still trying to grow the channel. And again, thank you for watching and I'll see you on my next video. Bye for now.